last goodbye that shook every heart.
Three seconds before the bugle began, he broke a rule he'd never broken. He wasn't supposed to move. But he wasn't waiting for orders anymore, he was waiting for a voice he'd never hear again. Before the hall fell silent, there were mornings like this. Staff Sergeant Daniel Cole and Ranger, a military working dog with a heart too big for his chest. Ranger could find what others couldn't, a thread of scent on the wind, a whisper of danger. But his favorite thing was simple: Daniel's voice. The word that meant the mission was over. The word that meant he could finally rest. Daniel would kneel, press his forehead to Ranger's, and whisper, "Good boy." Ranger's tail would thump once. That was all it took. There are jobs where success is invisible. No explosions, no headlines, just a patrol that comes home because two teammates did everything right. Daniel made a quiet promise every time he clipped that lead: "I'll get us both home." Some letters never want to be written. Daniel wrote one anyway. Not because he feared dying, but because he loved what would live on. He even recorded a short message, smiling through emotion. "Hey, buddy," he said softly. "If you're hearing this, it means I can't say it myself. But you already know. At ease. I've got the watch. No battle scenes. No heroics. Just a knock at a door, and the world changes key. There are dates the heart never learns to forget." The ceremony spoke its own language: measured steps, practiced hands, the weight of a flag that held a lifetime. Staff Sergeant Daniel Cole. Silence. Again Staff Sergeant Daniel Cole. Silence, heavier this time. And then, softly, Staff Sergeant Daniel Cole. Ranger's ear flicked. His eyes searched the air as if he could find a name like a scent. The bugle began to play taps. Ranger, trained to stay still, took one breath and then he moved. He stepped forward and rested his head and paw on the folded flag. He broke posture, but kept a promise. He watched over the man who had watched over him. He didn't whine. He just breathed slow, heavy, carrying the weight he was not meant to carry. When the folded flag was presented to Daniel's wife, Sarah, her hands trembled. The chaplain quietly gave her Daniel's letter. She saw a smaller envelope beneath it for Ranger. Daniel had written directions only love could think to write. They connected a phone to a small speaker. No one knew what was coming next, only that it would matter. A click. A breath. And then Daniel's voice filled the hall. "Ranger, it's me. I'm right here. You did good. You did everything I asked. At ease, buddy. Rest. I've got the watch." Ranger's ears lifted. His eyes softened. The tension melted from his shoulders. He exhaled a long, shaking breath and lay down beside Daniel's boots. Finally, he rested. There are words that don't need translation. At ease is one of them. Weeks later, at dusk, Ranger sat by the window at the hour Daniel used to come home. He waited, then a small hand touched his fur. Daniel's daughter. She held out a collar with Daniel's tag. "Want to go for a walk, Ranger?" she whispered. "Grief is a journey, you don't march, you walk. One step, then another. Sometimes with small feet beside you, and a leash that feels like a lifeline." Ranger began a new mission he never trained for: healing a home, one gentle night at a time. Back in the memorial hall, the sunlight spilled across the wood. Ranger sat quietly before the casket, then turned toward the door. He looked back once, a last watch, and then moved on. The last goodbye isn't the last love. Daniel's voice echoes where it matters, in a dog who finally slept through the night, in a family that found its way, in a flag that means more when you know the names beneath it. Where courage finds its quiet place.